Confidence is about how you see yourself. Welcome to the Uniquely Confident Podcast.
Yo, what it do? What it do? Positive energy and good vibrations to all you good people out there. This is RJ, the Imperfect Gentleman, and this is the Uniquely Confident Podcast. Man, listen. Right now, this is like a take two for us because we were just speaking really wonderful, going vibing back and forth, and I never pressed the record button. So check this out. We about to get it right now. Absolutely. And the best part about it all is that one thing that this King just finished saying to me in the back in the green room, right, was the fact that nothing was lost, right? There was nothing lost in this moment. We were just vibing it and speaking, going back and forth, and everything that was said was actually still transferable and can be resaid. So with that being said, I'm gonna sit here and do the recall and do the protocol of the show, which is speaking to our Father and then paying the bills around here. So with that being said, God, we thank you for another opportunity to say thank you. God, we thank you for another opportunity to do this one more time and say, you know what, we're grateful for the opportunity that you have given us. And right now we say thank you, and we are grateful to move forward and say, you know what, God, bless us in this space to help us speak these things over the airway that it won't just be entertaining, but also be beneficial and help empower men to be better individuals and who they are currently. So right now, God, we ask you for the grace and the space to be the men that you called us to be, God, right now. Help us remove all of the insecurities that may hold us back and release us to move forward in our true confidence. And these things we do pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Man. So listen, well, I said it before, but I'm going to say it again. The gentleman that I have on this platform today is a phenomenal individual. I got an opportunity to meet him and really bond with him through Clubhouse. So if you're not on that phenomenal app, you are missing out, especially now because it's open to the world. I got an opportunity to hear, right, the words come out of this man's mouth that actually moved me. And I can truly say that this man has a word in his belly that's actually for the people. And I don't say that lightly for nobody. I don't really put that in the air because I understand how delicate the people's ears are, right? And that's the reason why I don't proclaim to be a preacher, or I don't move in a certain aspect of that, because I know that I'm not ready for that capacity. And there's a certain move that you have to move, and God has to do a certain work in your life. So I don't really put that on too many people when I say that there's a word in his belly, but I do believe that there's a word in this man's belly that's going to help somebody out there move forward in their life. So do me a favor, give my homeboy a warm welcome. Jeremiah, what it do, King? Welcome to the platform.
Man, what's happening, Rod? I appreciate you and everything that you stand for in regards to your movement regarding building and establishing confidence within men. I'm just happy to be here with you, man. Every time I listen to you talk, I appreciate you sharing your story, appreciate your authenticity above all, and appreciate your drive, because I know you've been putting in a lot of time, a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice, blood, sweat, and tears into just making manifest what your vision is. So thank you for what you do, and I'm just happy to share this moment with you.
Man, well, you know, first and foremost, to God be the glory.
That's right.
Without him, I'm nothing, right? Like without him, I have nothing.
Amen.
I truly vouch for it, because it was a time in my life, if I be transparent as I normally am, is that I said, well, God, what have you done for me lately? Like, why do I need you? And I was in a very, very delicate space in my life at that time. And he had to show. And I don't really advise that to many people, right? I don't advise you to test God in that minute if you're not prepared for it, because he'll show you how much you need him. Like he will show you and show you in a way that you'll beg for him to help you out. So I don't take I don't take my relationship with God lightly at all. Like, I'm not a religious man, but I'm very spiritual when it comes to it. My relationship with God means more to me than anything else. Like there's a lot of things that are not right with me. Obviously, I am the imperfect gentleman. But the truth is, I'm striving just to be better than I was yesterday. You know what I mean?
That's what's up, man. Valuable, priceless.
And that's all we can ask for, right? That's all anybody can ask for.
Yeah. So I think we all are works in progress. Some of us, we embrace that because we're conscious of it and aware of it. And then there's some also who are not yet conscious of the fact that they are a masterpiece in progress.
Right.
So that's beautiful, man, when we come to that point in that place of realization where we can just embrace the fact that I'm not yet finished, but thank God I'm not where I was 5 years ago, 5 months ago, 5 weeks ago. I see progress, and that helps me to continue forward. So that's what's up, man, for real.
And let me tell you something. I believe that's a part of the reason why there's a lot of people who lack confidence right there in that statement, because they don't really do the theory I speak about when it calls checking your receipts, right?
Mm.
When you've been through something, it comes with a receipt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you buy something, it comes with a receipt, so you know you've
Right.
purchased. So when you've been through a certain situation, it comes with a receipt, which is a memory.
Right.
A lot of times, what God allows is the fact that time doesn't last always, right?
Mm.
Time moves. If we lived in the same time as God, we'd have headaches for 24 hours all day long. Like, we would have a headache for the rest of our life. Like, time would never matter for us. But the fact that God gave us time, He's blessed us. Because what hurt you 10 years ago, it's a memory now, but doesn't hurt you as much.
Understood.
But what happens is we forget those things that we actually made it through. So now
Right.
when we're
Sometimes
faced,
we forget you, right?
we face with another situation that we feel like we can't get through, we don't realize that we've been through something almost 10 times worse, but we forgot that we've been through that. But if you tap into that receipt, though, if you're, wait a minute, I looked the gun in the barrel. Why am I worried about this situation I'm currently in? If God was able to get me out of that, why am I worried about this?
Right.
And that's another level of confidence that actually I just not starting to receive. You dig what I'm saying?
That's major. Yeah, that's major. That's major to me, man, because it requires a level of, I think, strategy for us to actually approach our day-to-day with more of a strategy. Because for me, it requires an intentional effort for me to actually incorporate journaling into my life. As valuable as that is for me personally, I don't do it enough. And I realize that it's necessary for me to adopt that as a strategy. That, hey man, you sitting down 15 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day and writing in that journal, it's not just for you to feel good in that moment. Like, this is to help you be more effective as a human being.
Right.
And with what you're saying, we sometimes have that short-term memory where we do forget those receipts. And something as well that I started practicing and I realized I can grow and be more disciplined with it. And that's actually writing down testimonies, like writing down moments, those aha moments that we that we have.
Yes,
Where it's
sir.
like, oh, did you see that? Did you see how I was worried about this? And I come to find out my needs were provided, or I was fearful of this, or I didn't know how to figure that out. And boom, the answer came, or the resources were provided. Actually taking time to write that down somewhere where from time to time we can go back to it once a week, once a month, every few months, and just rehearse and relive and remind ourselves of those same receipts that you're talking about. But again, for me, man, I'm starting to look at it as a strategic living, because in every contest, if you want to win, you have to develop a strategy, and you also have to develop a consistent discipline, or else forget about it. No matter how much you want to win, without a strategy and a consistent discipline, there will be no victory. So that's major what you just said, man. That's valuable. Hey,
man, and like the when you actually talk about the strategy, bro, like that, we have to actually first come off with an autopilot, right? In order for us to really create a strategy, we gotta. Because let me tell you what that did for me, bro. Like, it really made me realize I was living on autopilot. Like, I was just whatever happens.
Yeah.
And then that leaves space for you to point fingers at anybody else, right? That's when you start like, well, you know what, my life ain't business because this person didn't do X, Y, Z. Now you living externally. Now you got all this chaos, and the truth of the matter is, it's all in here that's happening.
Right. Yo, you said it, man. Autopilot can be a beautiful place to live from, and it also can be a dangerous place to live from. I think the beautiful places are rare, few in between, because that would mean that you were conditioned as from being a child to exercise healthy disciplines in everything you do, just about, right? However, most of us come from a place of dysfunction, where our autopilots for a lot of us is basically survival mode. reactive mode. It's not proactive. It's not let me sit back, create a plan, follow it through. It's simply, I need to make it to the end of the day. I need to make it to the end of the month.
Right.
How can I just boom, just react, just simply make it through? And that survival mode, that we never reach our full potential, or if it's even possible for us to reach our full potential on this side of eternity, but we never maximize our capabilities when we're just in survival mode. We have to escape that and go into a place of being proactive versus reactive. So what you're saying is right on. That autopilot, that's something that hit me not too long ago, is that, my autopilot is killing me. Straight up. It's killing me. Literally.
You're living your life every day just to die. Like you're dying every single day. Like when you allow your life just to go on its own, you're not allowing yourself to elevate. And we all know if you're not living, you are dying. There is nothing that stays the same.
You're right, Rod.
And this Bob Proctor said this: you can hear someone's ignorance when you hear them say, "I just want things to stay the same."
You said it, Rod. And I'm gonna also add to that when it comes down to the autopilot, we live in an environment where sometimes we can be receiving pats on our back for just getting by. Like just getting by. Sometimes we can
showing up. This is everyone right now.
Right.
Everybody get a trophy if you showed up. What's that about?
Right. That dawned on me not too long ago, man. I talked to you about my decision to join the military.
Yes.
At 33. I'm not fresh out of high school.
I salute you for that. That's major.
I appreciate it, man. However, Rod, something that dawned on me, I just walked away from working with a wonderful company, State Farm, actually. For about 2 years, I was partnered with them and working with them. And I decided to walk away from that job because I realized that the path that my life was on, Rod, the path I was on was not helping me to become the man that deep down I desired to be.
Right.
Boys are born, but men are built. Men are made. That's a different process when it comes down to becoming a man, right?
Talk about it.
So, man, I've been in the customer service call center world, that type of environment more or less for about a decade, right? And Rod, it dawned on me one day that said, yo, man, with the exception of bonuses, you get paid for just showing up. Now, when it comes down to tapping into that, what that does to a person's mentality, when we become, because we don't just do, as human beings, we don't just do what we know to do.
Right.
It's not just about reading a book or hearing a speech. We do what we're trained or conditioned to do. What becomes repetitious to us, that's typically what we result to when going back to that autopilot, right?
Right.
That's what we do by default. And what dawned on me, Rod, is that I was being trained and conditioned to nobody's fault but my own. It was a path I chose. I chose to apply with those particular companies and do that type of work, right? I was training myself to be rewarded for simply showing up. Now, how does that affect me as a man when it comes down to my relationship with my wife?
Good. So you see what I'm talking about, y'all? I told you he had a word. Keep going, my guy.
Straight up, bro. How does that affect me when it comes down to my relationship with my wife? That means, and I'm not married yet, okay? But we're on that path, my fiance. That means that that would transfer to my romantic relationship, whereas I will expect certain things from her in my favor simply because I showed up, simply because I'm there. You know what I mean? And what about when that comes into the work and into the community and everything else? It's like our mentalities, they transfer to every area of our lives. And that dawned on me, man, that if you want to be a better man, childhood is long gone. Ain't nobody coming to nurse you. Ain't nobody coming to baby you. Ain't nobody coming to train you. You have to now make the demand of yourself and go and seek the training that you need to be the man you desire to be. And for me, the military was at the top of my list, man. I just couldn't think of any other environment that would help me to develop some of the skills and, more importantly, the mentality that I'm seeking and pursuing right now. in regards to my personal journey of developing. But you right on, man, when it comes down to what you
Bro,
said about the default mentality.
and I want to tap into what you said just now. I have some questions for you, but I'm about to throw those to the side because this conversation is so wonderful. So you emphasized your life, bro. And I was just having this conversation.
Yeah.
We don't realize that, yes, there's nothing new under the sun. Correct. Valid statement, and it's a whole 100% true. But Jeremiah's life and my life has never been lived before.
You got a point.
Other people, right, who lived their life before us and had the same experiences as us, but they've never been us having our experiences in our lives. So we get so caught up in looking at people and wanting to have the validation of other people's life to pour into us. Now, it's necessary and needed, but there's going to come a time in your life when there's not going to be no one around to pour into you. I really want to be really raw right now and be real because I went through that season. And if you're not here for that season mentally of not having no one pat you on your back, if you're not prepared mentally to not really have no one around celebrating and cheering you on, you're going to be in a dark space.
Yeah.
And what you have to understand that this is your life.
Yeah.
There's no one else that's lived your life but you. And there's no one that can go on living your life other than you. So yes, everything that this means is this king is saying across this podcast and every bit of information that you receive across your whole entire lifespan, it can do nothing for you if you don't live your life. And like, when you said that and you emphasized my life, it really struck home to me because I was one of the gentlemen who was living their lives through other people.
Man, let me tell you something, man. You right on, Rod. Rod, let me tell you something, man. When you say live your life, it's you on another level right now when you mention about how it can get to, we each are going to come to a point, if we haven't already, where it's just us. It's nobody around us to pour into us. Whatever is in you, that's all you got left, or that's all that you have access to make it through whatever it is that you're going through, whatever is in you. And I'm gonna tell you, man, when we talk about autopilot, the training of the mind, and just being willing to look ourselves square in the mirror, straight up, and take the mask off and be honest with ourselves. You feel me? Like when I got into the mirror, man, and
that mirror experience, King.
When I got into the mirror, man, and as I started to, a lot of people don't even know I talk to myself like that, but I be having some brutal conversations with myself. Because when I see myself, I call out a person within me that a lot of people don't see. Again, I published one book so far, and
let's talk about it. Like, put it out there.
Oh, it's actually right behind me, man. I published a book of poetry it's titled "When My Notebook Speaks: Poetic Expressions," and it's under my former name, which is James Lewis. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a tad. Thanks for even letting me share that.
Absolutely, my brother.
A lot of people look at me, man, because, I'm the type of guy who don't really rock the boat unnecessarily, pretty much, easy to get along and whatnot. And like I say, man, people have patted me on my back for that. Been patted on my back for years, serving ministry, things like that.
Right.
However, a lot of people don't know the man that's inside of me. And that's the guy who I go to sleep with every night, who really lets me know that, man, they may be comfortable with you, but you're not really living authentically. You're not living at your edge. You're not really pushing yourself. They patting you on the back for getting up and running a mile, but deep down, you've been, you're forfeiting the opportunity to push yourself to do 1.5 miles. You're refusing to give more of yourself. You just do enough, and that became a pattern for me, man. It became comfortable for me to just do enough to get by versus doing enough to get ahead. You know what I mean? And I brought that up too to say to you, man, when it comes down to mentality and learning how to own our mentality, Rod, bro, lately I've been revisiting certain areas of my childhood that was unresolved, right? And that still follows me today.
Now you're talking good. Let's talk.
That still follows me today, bro. Like, check this out, man. Lately I've been revisiting, man, as I talk about, again, being honest with myself in the mirror. the proof is always in the pattern. All right. When it comes down to getting to know people, listen, especially in relationships, forget about what a person looks like. And I don't mean forget about that. I mean, don't just only be based on or be won by or persuaded by what a person looks like, what a person is presently doing. Really listen with a critical ear or an open ear. What is this person's history? What is this person's pattern? Only because, yes, we transform, we have the ability to change, but the proof is in the pattern. All right. And man, when I started thinking back, bro, I'm like, yo, man, why am I so? A lot of people don't know that too. You know, I'm a public speaker and all that, but a lot of people don't know, man, I struggle deep. I've struggled for years with confidence, Rob. Struggled terribly with confidence, man. No, very little confidence in myself.
Right.
I had confidence in certain things that I could do. Right. But I didn't have confidence in who I was, Rob.
It's a difference, King. It's a major difference. But go ahead, keep going. You on fire right now.
Now check this out. Patterns. So as I thought back on my childhood not too long ago, man, I used to play football, right? DB and wide receiver, man. Grew up playing football.
Moving the feet.
When I was about around 10 to 12, bro, I played little league football right back in Miami Gardens, Scott Lake Vikings.
Shout out.
Because I was small, I was always, first of all, I looked younger than I am. I was always smaller than those my age. My coach, actually, he allowed me to play with the younger kids because I was still their size. And when it came down to weigh in, which we did every time we had a game, we weighed in and we had to recite our name and our date of birth, etc. I was given a fake birth certificate from a player. It wasn't a fake birth certificate, but I was given a birth certificate from a player that had played years before. So when I weighed in, I would actually recite this other person's name and their date of birth, because if I said my name and date of birth, I was too old. But I was still small.
Right.
So my coach thought he was doing me a favor by putting me with the younger kids and let me play with them because they were more my size.
Right.
But check this out now. It's like check this out now. Boys are born, men are built. Every decision we make is like a brick that's being laid into developing who we are. So here I am at 10, 11, 12, making the conscious decision week in and week out when we had our games during the football season to go in and say, I am this particular person. This is my birthday, but that's not who I really was, Rod. Now, it's easy to look at it from the outside and say, well, they're just playing football. He's a kid. Just let him have fun. But, Rod, what is that reinforcing in my thinking?
A new habit, a terrible habit.
I'm not good enough to play with the kids my age.
Right.
I'm not good enough to go in and say, this is who I am. This is my name. This is my date of birth. I am pretending to be someone else. And this is required for me to be accepted. Bro, at 33, I've had to go back and revisit a few areas in my life and in my past and make peace with the simple fact that, yo, man, you've been pretending for too long, because it has followed me throughout my life and even into my adulthood, where I scope out the environment, find out, well, what do they need from me? What do they want from me? And boom, how can I camouflage myself to be what they want from me, or to be who they expect me to be, versus simply being me and allowing them the chance to say, hey, we receive you for who we are, or we don't want you around here. Give them a chance to accept or reject you, but be you.
Right.
I had to go back, bro, and really revisit that, man, and say, nah, it's time for me to reaffirm within myself and establish within myself the confidence that, yo, you are enough, man, period. You are enough. You're worth showing up as who you are. You're worth making mistakes and learning the lessons along the way. You're worth being authentically you. Allow those to accept you who want you. Allow those to reject you who don't want you around. But do not reject yourself. Don't continue that pattern. But man, that was something, bro. That was something as far as me, like I say, just going back and revisiting that and realizing that, yo, that affected me. That affected my thinking for sure.
I'm first of all, I'm grateful to God for your awareness, right? I'm grateful to God for your openness to even receive your own awareness, right? Because a lot of times we're too caught up in ourselves to even realize that there's a breakthrough sitting in front of us. So I want to commend you, number one, for even understanding and having awareness on that one. But I also want to challenge you a little bit.
Go ahead.
When you said you went back in that mirror and you look back at these aspects of your life, I challenge you to apologize to that little boy and watch what happens.
Hey, check this out, Rob. We on the same frequency, bro. Where my book at? Where my book at, man? I gotta know my book back here. Yeah, it is right here. Check this out. I'm sliding from the camera for a little bit, but
It's all good.
check this out, man. I'm reading a book, right? It's called Manhood in the Making. But check this out as one as my bookmarker to help me keep up with my chapters.
Oh, wow.
I might have been like 4 or 5 in this picture.
Wow.
I keep that picture in front of me, Rod, because of what you just said, bro. I realized that it's my job to make peace with that young boy, man, as well as apologize to him. So you right on, man. You right on, bro. You right on, bro.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy, bro, because we don't realize is that our age, right?
Yeah.
Is one number we possess. Right? Then we have an IQ, our mental intelligence, right? Then that's a number that we can calculate. But we also don't realize there's an emotional age that we have. And there's an emotional IQ that we have.
That's good.
And a lot of times, we as men, especially men of color, we weren't allowed to allow our emotional age to stay with us, to move within our natural age. So there's so many of us black men walking around here, 25 years of age, 30 years of age, 40 years of age.
It's true, Rod.
I just say 60 years of age.
Rod, it's true, man.
Our emotional age is still in the teens, King.
Nah, you're right, bro. You're right, bro. You're right. I appreciate you even going there.
And think about this for a second. Our emotional age was stopped because we wasn't able to develop, because we were told that boys don't cry. We were told to man up in a stage of our life where we didn't even understand what boyhood was. How do you want me to man up when I haven't even understood what being a boy means? So we were taken from this coddle. A lot of us was motherly raised. Our fathers wasn't around.
True.
We went from this to push into a door and told to be something we've never seen.
Yeah.
Or we've never been explained about.
Right. Right.
And then guess what happens? Our emotional age stops. Wherever they cut you off from allowing you to cry and feel what things human beings feel. When they stopped us from doing that, they stopped our emotional age from being able to go forward. So here we are, 15, 16. We got all the functions of a man.
I never thought about it like that. Emotional age. I never thought about it like that. Okay. That makes sense, though.
We separate ourselves because they want us to. They told us men don't cry. That in the statement itself separates the person from a feeling. You can't do that.
Right. It's true.
So they created the division where they couldn't be. Right? It wasn't supposed to be, should I say. And it's an internal thing. We can't see this.
Right.
But we see it in our actions every single day, in the patterns of which you speak of, King.
Patterns, man. The proof is in the pattern, man.
It's all back to the patterns of what you spoke about.
The proof is in the pattern. Emotional age. I never thought about it like that, Rod.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the way we develop, the same way our age brings us new nuances and new thoughts and new processes, the same way our emotional age does the same thing. So the reason why a lot of us black men don't know how to deal with the police, especially in this day and age, is because we haven't been taught emotionally how to deal with someone not dealing with us the right way.
Gotcha. Interesting,
so
man.
We have to make sure that we are maturing each other emotionally.
Right.
That's the gap.
Yeah.
The emotional intelligence, the emotional maturity, and the emotional intelligence. That's the gap right there.
Yeah. You said it. You said it. It is a gap. It is a gap. And there are no shortcuts. So that means when we become aware, we do have to do our best to go back and fill in those gaps. versus carrying on as though there aren't any. Because I realized too, Rod, I told you that I'm currently preparing to be married again. I've already had one marriage, man, that didn't go the distance. And I wasn't aware enough as a man on how to manage myself and how to lead my former wife in a way that was able to basically create an environment of growth for us, an environment where she was able to grow and blossom as a woman, where I was able to continue progressing as a man. And the thing is, too, again, there's no shortcuts. So when it comes down to us realizing these gaps, it's our responsibility. The hard news is that mommy ain't coming back at 30, at 40, while you 50 and 60 to be what she never was to you. Daddy ain't coming back to spend the time with you at 30, 40, 50, 60 that he never spent with you before. Daddy can't come back and teach you those lessons that you wish he would have taught you when you was in high school and middle school. It ain't happening. That's the hard truth. It ain't happening. They're not coming back to do that, which means now we have to take responsibility for managing ourselves. I think the M in man stands for management. We have to first learn how to manage ourselves, which, like you said, that involves our emotional. That involves our emotional selves, man.
Could you do me one favor? The M stands for what, King?
The M stands for management. Because
that right there just reminds me of my silent mentor, God bless his soul, Miles Monroe. He said God only created management. He didn't create anything else. When he created Adam and Adam managed and tended the garden.
Yep.
We are managers. And once we understand that right there, that nuance, oh my God.
Makes a difference, man. Makes a big difference. And the first see Adam wasn't created, going back to the Bible and what you said about the late Dr. Miles Monroe, Adam wasn't created with some of the issues that you and I inherited, that you and I received, right? So he was able to go straight to business. Once he was created, he was able to go straight to business. Okay, this is the mission.
That's it.
Right. This is my purpose. Boom. I'm naming the animals. I'm taking care of the field. Oh, this is a woman. Okay, she looks good. She seems like we can get along together. Good. I'm taking her as my wife. But we, on the other hand, it's like it's so much that we have to work against.
Yes.
And for example, Adam was given a beautiful garden, right? However, a lot of us have been given gardens that got weeds in them. Gardens that, you know what I mean? Garden. I'm in Georgia, right? A lot of us got gardens with orange clay. Can't really grow nothing out of orange clay. So we gotta we actually gotta sit down and get dirty first before we can even plant and water. Right. We gotta get the weeds out the way. You know, the dysfunction. My mama treated me this way. My daddy wasn't there. You know, etc. The orange clay. All right, we need some real soil. So we got to get this orange clay out the way and start pouring out the real soil. We got to do that dirty groundwork before we can even move forward with actually get into our purpose, get into our mission, get into our true calling in life. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you something right there that and this point right here, I have been stressing on all my platforms, and I have no problem with stressing it here. We have to be, like you said earlier, brutally honest about not where we're going, but about currently where we are. Like, we're so caught up in talking about, well, I'm going to be this. This is living proof that I'm actually speaking about, because a lot of my intake of my guys, I always ask them, where are you right now? Well, I'm trying to be this, that, the third. That's not what I'm asking you.
That's a hard question to answer, Rod. Go ahead, man.
But check this out.
Because it requires us to be more honest. But yeah, man, but that's a real question to answer. You're right. Go ahead, bro.
But in order for us to even make any kind of progress, it has to be addressed. Why?
It got to be addressed, Rod.
Let me tell you why. Because let's think about the GPS, for example.
Yeah.
In order to put the location you need to get into the GPS, to your destination, the GPS is going to ask you one major question. What is your current location?
Yeah. You're
The
right.
GPS can't help you until
Damn
it
right.
finds out where you are.
Man. You're right, Rod. You're right, man. You're
If you
right.
if you give the GPS a guesstimation, it can be anywhere. Especially, you know how big Florida is. I'm in Florida. You would be like, well, where are you in Florida? Florida is massive.
Mm-hmm.
I can drive almost 12 hours and still be in the state.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you in Florida? Well, I'm around here.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't helping nobody. You're not helping
Right.
yourself, and you're not helping the person that's trying to help you.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get specific and you're honest and you give an exact location, I'm struggling with my manhood.
Mm-hmm.
I'm struggling with this thing called life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm struggling with my confidence.
Mm-hmm.
I need help in these areas. You know what
Right.
you're doing? You're giving exact location. I am on 5332 some street.
Mm-hmm.
Now someone, right, can come and
Mm-hmm.
find you where you are and help you, can give you assistance. I can now talk you out of where you are.
Right.
Because why? I know the location. I've been there before.
Right.
And that's with everything else. We gotta be honest, Joe, and get past the embarrassment about where you are. Because
Yeah.
where you are is not where you're gonna stay if you be honest about where you are.
It's true, man. And the reason why I say that's a hard question for some to answer is because if we're not accustomed to being honest with ourselves to that level, it can feel very uncomfortable, man. Straight up.
Yeah.
And just to confirm that you on the right track with that question, going back to the Bible as a reference. Remember after Adam had eaten from the tree of knowledge of good and evil,
Come on, kid. Come on, sir. Yes, sir.
when God came in contact with Adam, the question he asked, actually, just before he came in when he came in contact with Adam, he asked Adam, "Where are you?"
Where are you, son?
Now, this is the God of creation, so he wasn't asking Adam like he needed help finding Adam. He wanted to bring Adam to a place of realization.
Ooh, you are good. Talking good, sir.
Where he actually inspected himself and say, "Dad, where am I? How did I get here? What caused me to end up here?" Etc. Right. So just to confirm that question that you threw out, man, you right on. Bro. Us taking inventory on where we are really. And with that question, I think it's important for us to consult with our own conscience. The reason being is because society also tells us where we're supposed to be, right? At 21, you're supposed to be a college graduate. At 25, you're supposed to be into your career. At 28, you're supposed to have a family. And the 30, you should have your first house already. 32, working on child number 2. But the reality is that's a standard. That's not the standard for every person.
But one type person. That's it. That's only one type of billions.
Exactly. But our consciences, I've come to realize that our consciences really do an excellent job at placing the standard of what we're supposed to be doing, where we should be, where we actually are, how we've been cheating ourselves and cheating others, and even how to get back to that right path. You know, I heard somebody say that conscience is the voice of God. So that's also, going back to EQ, emotional intelligence, that's also why it's important for us to do our best as men to protect our conscience. Don't take your conscience for granted. Don't pollute your conscience, because going back to what you said about that GPS, when the GPS malfunctions, it's impossible for it to lead us in the right path. And when our conscience has been so ignored and polluted, it no longer functions in the way that it was designed to help guide us to the right destination.
Right.
So that's important, man. But when you ask that question, where are you? You right on, man, for real.
And let me tell you, that's the beginning of everything, bro. Like, if I wanted to even sum it up to that, like, the reason you have to really answer that question is because that's going to tell you where you've been, right? It's going to show you a few things in that one question. It's going to show you where you've been, and it's going to also show you the decisions you've made. Because one of my mentors and a guy that I had on the Perfect Fathers podcast, he made a statement that blew me away. And that statement was, you were born looking like your parents, but you'll die looking like your decisions.
I love it.
I said, wow. Because the truth of the matter is, when you're born, you are looking like your parents.
Right. It's true.
But the older you get and the more further on in life you move through, you begin to look like the decisions you made.
You're right. You're right.
Right now, I got some scars across this body. I got some things about me that have happened because of the decisions I've made.
Right.
Right. Like, I just came out of the sun not too long ago, so I'm even darker than I normally am because I made a decision to go sit in the sun. That's on a minor note. But on a major note, there's some decisions I've made that this body has to live with now.
Let me go back to something you said earlier. Earlier, you mentioned about not making excuses, not blaming other people in our environments. And I realized that that's a part also of us learning how to mature into healthy men. And that's embracing responsibility for ourselves, embracing the fact that it's our choices that determines our outcome. Like, that's a totally different mental switch.
Yes.
When we learn how to just say, my choices, if it's going to be, it's up to me. Because it's so easy as well. Going back to that autopilot, I realized, man, that as an adult, I was still blaming people from my past, man.
Wow.
If I would have had somebody push me in high school, academically and athletically, I could have been further. I could have gone to college on a scholarship for athletics. So I would have done more while in college academically. If I would have had somebody teach me certain lessons as a kid, I would be more productive right now as an adult. The list goes on, man. If my mama would have spent more time with me, if my sister would have made eggs with a little bit more salt, all that other stuff, man. You feel me? Just pointing fingers, man. Just making excuses.
My coach used to say is, if was a fifth, we all be drunk, right? If was a
straight
fifth.
Up, bro. Straight up, bro. Straight up. Straight up. So that has been a big game changer for me too. Is just embracing the fact that, whatever happens in my life from here forward, it's because of my choices.
Yes.
Period. And even if something happens outside of my choice, right? Because there's so many things that can't happen outside of our choice. I'm choosing to own 100%. I'm choosing to own 100% responsibility for how I respond.
Yes.
I'm not giving that power over to nobody else. No, I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it.
Let me tell you something about that power you just talked about, right? About giving somebody else power. And to the aspect of confidence. What we don't realize is that we willingly give people who do not know us or do not want the power that we're giving them over us.
Yeah, you're right, man. All the time.
That power, when we start worrying about what someone's thinking about us, we start worrying about allowing people to start dictating how we think because we're worried about what they might feel.
Rob, been there.
Let me tell you something. I still go through it even in my relationships. My wife, like, it's a certain space where even as a married person, you have to watch and make sure you don't lose yourself inside of a marriage.
Hello.
So even myself, I'm making sure.
Bro.
I'm very transparent. I make sure for myself that I gotta make sure I know who I am, because that's how I perform and be whoever they need me to be, is by me continuously being me and working on myself. So I'm always gonna be honest with where I am. If I feel like I'm losing myself, I'll tell her in a heartbeat, yo, baby girl, I just need a date. I just need to go. Let me go have a moment at Red Lobster or something. Let me go sit down and just be with myself for a minute. Let me just have a moment, because I can't be what you need me to be for you if I can't be that to myself first.
Man, you're right on, man. You're right on.
And the part of the thing that I speak to everyone who's in the space that you're not married right now and you're looking towards getting there. Remember to remember you. Because
Yeah.
especially as men, we're designed to put someone before us, especially in relationship phase. We image our lives after Christ, and Christ gave his life for the church. So we are willing to lay our lives down, but I've learned something about us men. We're not also as willing to live as we're willing to die for someone. You got to be willing to live for people just as much as you're willing to die for them to prove true love. Because if I'm not willing to take care of myself to the highest level to give you of me, you will never get the best of me.
So
And if
true.
I'm so willing to put my life on the line so you live, why won't I magnify my life so you can enjoy the fruits of that too?
Yeah. So true, man. So true. You're right on. You're right on. And it
So
is
we
something
gotta,
that we have to learn, man. You're right. It's something we
gotta
have
make
to
sure.
learn. Yeah. And depending on our upbringing, some lessons are easier learned than others.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I've been listening to an audio book titled No More Mr. Nice Guy.
Mm.
And man, in that book, man, he emphasizes that. He emphasizes how the nice guy syndrome, like it affects a man's mind in such a way that he seeks satisfaction in basically pleasing those around him, being
Self.
who those around him wants to be,
Yes.
but he struggles with being authentic to himself. He puts
Right.
his own opinion at the last. He put his own opinion and what he thinks last on the list, and he puts what everybody around him thinks about him at the top of his list. And man, it's the reality is when you talk about relationships, the truth is, because that was a pattern in my life as well, man. And it's something that I'm still working through. I'm more free from it now than I ever was. However, I'm still working, man, to be totally free in that aspect. And the truth is, man, it dawned on me a while ago that when it comes down to having long-lasting relationships with friends, family, etc., when it comes down to it, if we have patterns of being dishonest in who we are just for the sake of blending in or feeling accepted, that means that we're not giving other people the opportunity to get to know the real us.
Yes.
And one day that dawned on me that Jay, you're not really introducing the real you to these other people. So how do you expect them to embrace you for who you are when you're not even showing up as who you are? And you said it, man, when it comes down to marriage and etc., it's imperative for us to do that temperature check on a regular basis and say, okay, time out. Why am I making this decision? Why am I following this particular path? And is this honest? Is this in line with who I honestly am and what I honestly want? Or have I just submitted my mind, my being, to the will of another, which Jesus voluntarily submitted himself to that mission of saving mankind?
It was very conscious. It was very conscious.
Man.
It
Exactly.
wasn't self-conscious. It was a very conscious effort to do that.
Exactly. So with us, we are to also make the decisions within our lives, within our relationships, consciously, intentionally, not just blindly. Some people say happy wife, happy life, not just blindly laying down your will and forgetting to think for yourself because I just want to do whatever's gonna make her smile. I just want to do whatever my group of boys want to get into. I'm gonna just go with the flow. And the reality is, in the long run, people from wife to girlfriend to guy friends, they lose respect for you.
Yes, indeed.
Because they realize it's like a silent detective where people can discern that, wait a second, this person don't even care enough about himself to stand up for what he think and what he believe in. Why should we trust in him?
You about to have you open up a whole other can, because what people don't realize is nobody cares about your self-confidence. Nobody cares about that. What people care about is something called self-esteem, right? What is self-esteem? It's the respect and the honor that you have for yourself. So when you have a certain level of respect and honor for yourself, you have a certain standard that even you address yourself with. Mm-hmm.
Straight up, man. It's
Even
it's contagious, bro.
There's no one else that can take you lower than that. Like if you approach me, you can only address me how I address myself. So if I hold myself at a high regard, you have no other choice. Because if not, you won't even be in my vision. We can't even have a conversation because you don't respect me on the level that I respect myself.
It's true.
And let me explain something. People realize that we call people cocky and arrogant, the people that have confidence, with self-esteem. But we admire the people who have confidence and self-esteem. We like being around those people. We hold them to a higher regard. We hold them to a higher standard. We like to be around them because why? They value themselves, and you have no other way to address them other than the way they carry and hold themselves.
Yeah.
But let me ask you a question before we get up out of here. Go down to the last 10.
Go ahead, man.
You know your woman, right? So check this out. If your woman came home, right, with a brand new hairdo, and you said nothing about it for the first 3 days, what would happen?
Nah, she gonna be wondering why I didn't acknowledge her hairstyle.
Right.
Shoot.
And then it's gonna be
knowing
some
her,
stats.
knowing her, she gonna let me know. You haven't said anything about my hair.
Right. It's gonna be some sort of static in your life. It's gonna be some sort of disruption. She's gonna say something that's gonna disrupt. Something's gonna happen, right?
Right.
That's gonna cause you to feel a certain kind of way, right? Which is gonna give you a mental note. Well, the next time you see this, you're going to address it, right? Mm-hmm. Why don't we do the same thing for ourselves? Why is that when we act out and lash out, we don't realize it's just us saying, "Yo, bro, I just need some time with you." Mm-hmm. And we don't pay attention to that, and then we start taking it out on the people we love, i.e., our relationships, with our friends, our girlfriends, our wives, even our parents. We'll lash out and don't know why we lashing out, but the truth is, we just want some time with ourselves. Right. So we're coming down to the last few minutes, Jay, and I thank you so much because this conversation was jam-packed of things that is going to help so many men. And I'm going to actually enjoy myself going back and watching and putting this edit out because there's so many things that this conversation has brought about. There's so many thought processes that this conversation has brought about that's going to really invoke change. And that's my purpose. That's the reason for this whole platform, bro. So I want to thank you in this space for coming on once again because you truly gave me a wonderful conversation that's going to literally help millions at some stage in the point in the game. But I want you to, before you leave, is tell everyone how they can follow you, how they can contact you if they need anything from you.
Yeah. Well, you can follow me on Facebook, Jeremiah C. Riley, Riley. Same thing for Instagram, Jeremiah C. Riley. And those are the two platforms that I'm on. And other than that, again, I've published one book so far under my previous name, and I know we're in the last few minutes.
How did they get to the book, man?
You can go to Amazon.com. The title of the book is When My Notebook Speaks. It is by James Lewis, which was my former name. Okay, that's before I decided to take on my biological father's last name. And that's also before I decided to drop the James, which was a man who I was named after, who was not my father. Nevertheless, or should I say, not in addition to not being my father, he just wasn't a man who I desired to continue to wear his name because I was a junior once upon a time, James Lewis Jr. So that's another story for a different day. But nevertheless, again, I'm J.C. Riley. The C stands for courage, a.k.a. James Lewis, especially for those who knew me before I changed my name. But yeah, that's how you can follow me on Facebook and also on Instagram.
Yo, man, listen, guys, check that book out. I'm actually gonna get myself a copy. I'm actually gonna check up on in that poetry because that's a phenomenal book. The name of it, When My Notebook Speaks, man. So listen, do me a favor, go out there and support this King's book. He has, like I said, if you wasn't blessed from anything on this podcast, I believe you were unconscious because this right here has truly even blessed myself, man. Just being in the presence.
Likewise, man. It's been good.
So I
appreciate the conversation.
Absolutely, my brother. And listen, don't be a stranger. You will definitely be back on this platform. We're going to dive a little deeper in, ask some more questions, and have another great conversation. So please don't be a stranger. You are now,
man. I appreciate it, Rod. We locked in. I look forward to connecting with you again, and to you and your family, you and your platform, you and your tribe. I pray, man, peace, power, and progress in every way.
Oh man, and to God be the glory. And I receive every one of those, King. I thank you so much. Everyone out there, let's checking this out, man. I appreciate you, man. I really hope that and pray that these words have inspired and empowered you guys to not only just be where you are in a sense of just surviving, but just move from that space to a thriving space, a space of thriving, of excellence, moving forward in a positive way. And they're not just living on an autopilot, right? But actually taking intentional steps. Be intentional about your life. And remember that your life has not been lived. Yes, there's nothing new under the sun, but your life has not been lived yet. So you have to live your life and actually enjoy those experiences, man. So to everybody out there, you know my motto, you know my spiel. You understand that confidence is all about how you see yourself, right? And don't you guys forget that. And until the next time I see you guys, be good to yourself, right? Make sure you be good to yourself and the ones around you. But if you can't be good to the ones around you, that's okay. Just get those folk from around you. Yo, this is RJD, the Imperfect Gentleman, and this has been the Uniquely Confident Podcast. Y'all go in peace, because I will. Peace out.